Welcome to Soul Therapy with Chelle. I am Chelle Griffin and I practice as a soul doula. I combine therapeutic knowledge and lived experience with a healthy dose of spiritual exploration. Feel welcome to join me as we learn and grow together, exploring the magic and wonderment of experiencing life on earth as a spiritual being. Welcome back to Soul Therapy with Chelle, and once again I'm joined for part 2 of our conversation with Elinor Moshe, and it's a beautiful exploration of her experience in past life regression, astrological readings and tarot readings, in deepening her connection to her soul, herself, and her new relationship defined with her partner Daniel. As you were sharing that you both met on like a crane site, and I just had this image of these two like mud, deep, thick, nutrient dense mud, but these two lotus flowers coming out, and then just suddenly the sun hits them and they just open up and bloom. Like
That's
that was
beautiful.
the image that came through, and it's like through all the mud that you've both been through, that the hustling to get ahead in life the way we've been conditioned to believe we should, and then even part of that hustling to like getting up at 5 and doing the grind for the spiritual aspect as well, just going, I need to know more, I've got to find it out now, and the universe coming along going, not yet darlings, there's a few more steps to go, and then the magic. I can hear the trumpets playing. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, we get told often that we get told in many ways how divine our connection is. And when, we lift the hood on ourselves or with clients, as you were talking about beforehand, they're looking for that unconditional love. They're looking for that unconditional peace. It has always been within, but the layers, the fragmentation, call it what you want, that separation programming, which doesn't allow us to experience it in its totality. It's heartbreaking, and that is the state of humanity.
It is. It is. It's shifting. More and more people are becoming aware and looking around them going, hang on, something's not right. There's I'm not feeling aligned with what I've always thought I should be feeling. And so people are starting to notice and ask questions, and it's it's a slow road. I know I like from in my 20s, I was asking questions and really curious, and it was getting so squashed out of me by even by my family, because they had questions as well, but you weren't received in your community if you questioned anything. So it was deemed easier to just shut up and conform and go about your business and focus on success rather than meaning and authenticity and love and alignment and everything we've been conditioned to think is not of value.
Yes, that's exactly right. That is also pointing in the direction of the divine feminine paradigm, and that energy, or access to that energy. And that's, from a career aspect, that's exactly the game that I played out. It's like, you play the game, you do the things that everyone else is doing, you think that you're being authentic in the world, but ultimately, what is that foundationed on? Because a lot of that, and I do acknowledge that I have done great things. They were still born out of a part of me that could do this, but it was still foundationed on performative leadership. It was still on chasing. It was still on, I need to be good kind of energy. It was still being born out of a place of, well, you can have this, but the inner saboteur will be like, no, you can't. Like, are you kidding yourself? My deep programming across lifetimes is that of disempowerment, and that's what when I had the regression, I still, when I go under, I get shown a lot of disempowered lives. So when this soul came into this lifetime, that's also the narrative, or that's the arc that is playing out, deep, like death to life as well. You know, the soul chose these lessons. And at one level, as Daniel points to, like, we choose everything, but then the ego is here going, what the hell do I do now? So, you know, I don't know how to
I don't have a
deal
role
with it.
anymore.
Yeah. So even from that, you know, that career aspect and chasing that, you know, success, when we're not examining what it's foundationed on, it will come crashing down. We do set our own dreams on fire. We do hit our own ceilings, and these are not the conventional ceilings of gender pay gap and all of this narrative, which get people to focus outside of themselves. But when our deep programming does not allow us to receive, you know, receivership, when it does not allow us to have any worth in the world, when we are not able to extract my sense of self from your sense of self, and it's all one big messy, you know, finger painting, then it falls over. And all of this remains unexamined, and then it also gets reinforced, because as I was saying beforehand, like, how dare you, you know, as you're talking about, how dare you question, you have X, there are people out there that don't even have Y.
Yeah.
So everyone's playing these, you know, trauma Olympics as well. It's like, why are we playing this game?
Yeah. And then feeling that you can't celebrate when you do have a positive experience, or reach a successful point in your life, because you are waiting to be shut down. You are waiting for that, especially here in Australia, that tall poppy syndrome. Like, I don't know where that's come from, but we can't seem to wait to just knock someone over, that, I don't know, but they deprive them of their celebration because of our own sense of inferiority or failure. It's like, why can't everyone just celebrate wherever they're at and accept that, you know, comparison doesn't need to be a competition, and we can support each other wherever we are at and move forward and just be beside each other and hold space for whatever is showing up, and allow everyone else to grow up together around us. And, you know, I'm noticing my frustrations coming up at the world right now, going, I'm tired of seeing this play out day in, day out, and seeing the pain and the suffering that's going on, not just from scarcity and the challenge of living and supporting our families, but that internal deprivation of honoring our soul's worth. And because we are all equal, and when we strip away that human physical aspect, we are all that essence of love, and we seem to have forgotten that coming here.
By far. And one thing that you said about growing up, and this is something that Daniel's been speaking to, and both of our own experiences, like, we are adult children. There are some parts of us which are quite developed, but ultimately we are still children, and there are no adults in the world, let alone mystics.
That's right.
You look at the, you know, that behavior, like, we're all sort of waiting for an adult to come in, and just because we have matured in years, not mature, we've, you know, aged in years, that does
Yeah.
not mean we have been initiated into adulthood. And this is something that I definitely missed, you know, and my initiation was over the last few months, as, you know, as it had to be. But we have not, there are no adults. And when we look at the models of relating, models of anything, models of living, where are the adults? There are none. And this is really where there is such a lack and a need for adults to come and get the child. Like this, we were showing the vision of our business. There is the state of humanity is a child crying in the corner, and they are very fearful. They are very damaged, and you can't come at them with bro marketing and yell at them to join my webinar and here's 5 steps to becoming successful. Like, you think the child within is going to respond to that. That is actually absurd.
Yeah.
And that's the state of humanity. And we need the adult to reach out the hand and wait so patiently. And that requires that divine feminine energy, which is so missing. And it's also been thwarted by the distorted masculine systems, which a lot of the world is run on. And this by no means is pointing in the direction of gender. Men suffer tremendously. Women suffer tremendously. Children suffer tremendously. Animals suffer tremendously. And we're not comparing who's suffering more here.
No. Yeah. And that there was something you said there where if we could just learn to sit with our own inner child and be with that, if each individual on the planet could just do that, then imagine the shift that would create. Imagine how then we could relate to others and realize, oh, I'm activated by something you said, but that could be your inner child coming out. And that could be a long held insecurity at play there, but I'm making it about me. And what if I could just reach out and go, are you okay? What's going on for you right now? And sit with the truth of the moment rather than the perceptions of, oh, I'm being played or I'm being tormented or insulted, and I now have to come back and go harder and claim my power. And that is that masculinity dominating the field as such. And yeah, I love your reference to bringing in the divine feminine, and imagine this planet like operating in that different way.
And both are needed. And, when you transcend that, then they're also constructs at one level. And it was only through Daniel that I realized he was the first one to give me so much space to even access my feelings, because I don't have, when something is so out of reach, it's in the basement of basements and basements and basements, you can't access that. And I've never had people in my life who have been patient enough for me to reach it or even start to put a loose frame around it. And that provided so much liberty, so much freedom. And we're also so used to anything that we do open up and say being weaponized against us and coming back like a boomerang. So then you further shut down. The internal judge goes nuts and you're like, you see, you shouldn't have done that. I told you and you didn't listen. So don't do that again. Otherwise you're bad. And it was really only through Daniel that I was being able to afford so much space and safety within an individual to be able to even allow something to come up. And then, especially last year, like all of a sudden I felt so safe that really, harder things or darker things started coming up. And I didn't know that was what was happening. It was because it was now safe for those parts of self to express themselves. And that is so rare. People do not have that. Most people that we interact with who are very much in the game and have not done any of their work, they don't know how to do this. And it doesn't matter if they think, I'm a therapist, I'm this, I'm that. No, nervous system will tell you if you are actually holding space and creating safety for someone else. I don't care what your LinkedIn profile says here.
I love that. That's so refreshing to hear. It's true. It's not just about the qualification. It's the lived experience and the ability to be accountable for your own sense of self first and foremost, that you can then have the space to be present for another and hold them through their own suffering and awakening. And I love that. And that's what soul therapy, that's the essence of why I'm here. And you've just really hit a point there for me, because I'm not a hustler, and I've been like, oh, I should be doing more. I should be doing this and that. And it's that realization, like, no, I just keep being me and showing up, and you keep being you and showing up, and let's do our own work and come together and share and celebrate and learn and exchange. I really love the magic of that.
There is definitely a time and place for, sometimes the work, and especially if you choose to create something, like to execute something, there is a time and place for it, but not when that, as you say, like comes at the expense or overrides things that we devalue. A big part, like this is something that we're working on, is the ability to relax and rest so deeply, because that is the state in which we can actually do the work on ourselves. We can't do the work when we're always fired up and everything's in this, different states of awareness that don't allow us to go deeper within ourselves. And
And I,
it is also that balance, but it's also respecting that different parts of ourselves need different things. And yet rest and relaxation and peace, and that was always accessible. Like I had no boundaries. It's like, how does someone with no boundaries ever rest? You don't.
you don't
You don't. And that's why, like,
continue
that
meeting the
plays
needs of others.
out in different aspects at different
That's right.
times. And
Yeah.
when I, had my first business, it was all about the hustle. It was all about the masculine. And as Daniel said, it was all about the Saturnian energy of astrology. That's one planet. There are other planets. There
Yeah.
are other houses. There are
All
other
of the
zodiacs. There
planets.
is
Yeah.
much more to consider than definitely what we have been taught. But again, it was that gift that Daniel saw through all of that very quickly. And that was, challenging for me, because I'm like, but wait, if I don't hold on to that, what do I hold on to? But very, like, I was able to let a lot of that past education go, especially around business, that this is how things need to work, because ultimately it's not serving the greater collective in the ways that we think we are, because a lot of the coaches, whatever you want to call them out there, it's spiritual bypassing wrapped in ego. And as you know, the soul does not transform in a 5-step, 7-step, 10-step, 10-week anything. The soul works on its own time frames, and it's
Yeah.
not even time.
It's
It
not
works
even
on its own
linear. Yeah.
energy. Yeah, it's not we can't contain this in the language of time as we know it. It doesn't exist anyway. So yeah, it's been a phenomenal journey, and that's why I love coming on these shows as well. It's the opportunity to reflect, because the first thing that my coach also said was, at this point in time in 2025, you will be unrecognizable. I'm like, I don't believe you. It's like, I don't even know how unrecognizable looks and feels. Like, how different could reality be? And that's exactly where we are, in a completely unrecognized reality. Having let go of things that, A, weren't in my awareness, B, I never thought I would be able to, quote unquote, let go of or distance myself from, and C, be at such liberty to, to come into what the self is and what the soul wants to experience, and being able to, create that and offer that out into the world as well, because the souls need a lot of therapies.
The souls are tired. They need a break. And that's the one thing that I know growing up for me. I've dabbled in a bit of human design, and I've discovered that I was a projector in a sea, in a like family of generators, and we've been conditioned in our world as well that we have to be productive, and that rest is laziness, and rest is where creativity lies, and rest and space allows the body to heal, and it's so underrated. And I love hearing you honor that. Yes, that's where the work truly is, that when we give ourselves that space for the shadows to really come forth. And they do, God, they do, when you finally slow down, and the universe will immobilize us so that we can have that breakthrough. The universe will shut down the world so that the world can go, hang on, this working from home gig is actually really good. Oh, maybe I don't want to do that full time. Maybe I want it to look like this. Like, this opportunity to really go within and nurture and nourish our souls so that we can bloom and share that with those around us. This has just been absolutely glorious. So, such a rich and diverse and meaningful, deep discussion, and I've really loved having you share this with me, Elinor. You have this beautiful way of articulating. I'm sitting here in awe going, oh my God, she knows all the right words. I feel like I can't get the words in. And you've just been an absolute delight to chat with today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's felt like an absolute minute, not 40, but that's, when you get into the zone, and then that's how we also know we're allowed to, what feels good, what doesn't feel like a
Yeah.
sense of time. Like that's where the life comes through. That's where the energy can dance with you.
And what a dance you've had from your Construct a New podcast, inspiring other people in their career and sharing ambitions and elevating in their career. And then you've had this beautiful awakening and realize, hang on, I need to deconstruct all that I've learned. And your new podcast came out late last year, I think.
20,
And
late 2023, yeah,
yeah,
deconstructing you. Yeah. And we're
and
shortly reorientating as well. So
so your new podcast is going to be called
Daniel and I will be launching Resonant Truth as part of our business,
Beautiful.
Truth of You.
Beautiful. I really love that. I can't wait to follow and sign up and subscribe. And how can we find you if we want to work with you? How can our listeners reach you?
Our website is truthofyou.com.au. I'm the Elinor Moshe on Instagram and Elinor Moshe on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And we'll include all those details in the show notes as well. And thank you once again. It's been absolutely gorgeous having your energy here with me today. I
Thank you
just
so much.
feel the vibrations just doing a lovely little dance.
If I can add one final thought, it was a question that when Daniel was channeling when I was very deep in my own cage. And when, Spirit came through, it asked, how would you like to return your soul when you're at the end of this life? Look at the state in which we came in with it. It was, call it what you want. Like we've all, it was not great to say the least. But how do we want to return it? So the next character that it chooses to play and the template that it gets to have and the architecture of the soul, how do we want the next character that the soul will continue, the ego will, this body, this ego, it'll be done. How do we want to return that? And I found that perspective quite different and also really gets us to connect with that level of responsibility that we have to undertake our own therapy of the soul, because it's not just for us in this lifetime. It's not just for everyone that comes before us, but everyone that comes, in continuity of the soul as well. So I've really appreciated this conversation and the ability to journey into different aspects with you here and bring that permission and validation for the audience as to where they are. They're allowed to be here, and more so than not, they're allowed to unravel as deeply as they want. There is so much truth to discover.
I really feel to acknowledge your wisdom in your youth, and I've just got goosebumps because I look at my kids and they're my teachers, and I have my mentors and like the crone wisdom around me, but there's this oh, absence in the world of acknowledging the younger generations of how much we can learn from people like you in you've you're really showing up for yourself and really going deep within and asking the hard questions. And for someone of your age, that is not typical. And I can see that that's shifting, and I love that. But I just feel really to honour that in you today, that this beautiful, successful young woman has shown up and is flipping the world on its side and just going, hang on, wake up, people. And I love it. I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I like that. Yeah, you mentioned that at the start, and I found that so beautiful and allows me to also further connect with where I am. So thank you so much.
You're blessed. Thank you for showing up for yourself by listening to Soul Therapy with Chelle. Feel welcome to subscribe to my podcast. Share the pod with your friends, family, colleagues, and neighbours. And please, if you are willing, I would absolutely love a 5-star review to give my little pod a boost in the algorithms. For further detail on how to work with me, please visit my website www.chellegriffin.com or find me on the socials. I hope you'll join me on my next episode. Till then, go gently and intentionally. With care, Chelle.